Hi, Malaysia. We have a great news today. The EPF has just announced a 6.3% dividend for year 2024. That's a good return, right? In fact, I have got three people message me telling me that they feel happy to see this because they only expected somewhere around 6%. So, for most of us, EPF is our biggest retirement savings, if I may say that. And of course, seeing a stable and good return, it's definitely a happy moment and reassuring for you, right? But here's also one thing, right? A good dividend, while it's important and helpful and also make us feel happy seeing the amount comes into your accounts, uh, it's only one piece of your whole retirement puzzle. So let's take our attention away from this 6.3% for a little while because 6.3%, 6.2%, or even 5%, they are just numbers, right? Maybe it's more important for us to understand what do these number means to us. So let's turn to what this means for your long-term financial security or your retirement security, and why you still need to be careful about how you withdraw your EPF savings, in especially if you are retiring soon. So one of the biggest challenges retiree today in the modern era face, I think it's inflation, which means you have to spend more money to get the same thing, just that the quantity is now lesser or smaller. So in short, we call rising cost of living. And you can feel it, right? Especially this year. So a stable return or dividend of 6.3%, I guess it really helps to protect our retirement savings from the effect of inflation, because it means our money is working or growing. Probably it's a bit faster than inflation, 6.3%, right? So you might wonder, why is it important for our retirement saving to grow or work faster if can lah, get ahead of inflation rate. Uh, so imagine you retired 20 years ago, say 2005. You at that time, maybe every month spend 3,000 is considered enough for you to have a reasonable standard of living. But today, 3,000 ringgit a month may no longer give you the same standard of living anymore. That also means, let's say 20 years from now, 2045, okay, even 5,000 ringgit a month may not feel like much to the future you anymore also. So that is why having a steady return or dividend growth rate above inflation, like the 6.3 we have, right, is quite crucial to protect our purchasing power. So in that sense, I guess it's quite obvious. It's a good thing, right? But because dividend rate, right, it's just a percentage, you know, uh, it's a percentage of what you have. That's the base. So maybe it's also important or good for us to ask this question: is my base big enough? Is my retirement saving sufficient or strong enough today? For a context, let's say you have individual A. Okay, individual A have 500,000 in his retirement savings account, and his retirement fund grow at 6.3% every year. Right? This will means that if individual A were to rely on his dividend income, he will have about 31,500, right? So if he needs more than 31,500 a month, which is more than 3,000 a month, he will have to take from the principal of his total savings that 500,000. So over time, of course, his retirement savings, the base, the 500,000, will get lower and lower and lower. And that means he don't have sufficient retirement savings, right? Now, on the other hand, we have individual B. Individual B, not so lucky. Imagine he comes from another universe. His retirement savings does not give him 6.3%, only give him 4.3%, which is 2% lower than individual A. That's that's poor luck for individual B. But individual B have 1 million in his retirement savings account. So even though his dividend is only 4.3%, he will receive about 43,000 per year of dividend income. This means individual B has close to about 36% more money than individual A, and B can afford a slightly better retirement lifestyle than individual A. So maybe dividend rate is not the only thing that is important here. The base, your base, how much this dividend rate is applied to, it's also super important. Agree? Therefore, even with good dividends, the bigger question we need to be more concerned of is this. Will your EPF savings last as long as you do? Here is something important for you to know. Malaysian, we are living longer. Okay, according to data, our life expectancy is supposedly hovering around 73 to 75 years old for men and 78 to 80 years old for women. All right. So many of us are also retiring at the age of about 55 years old and 60 years old, right? Especially quite common nowadays, 60 years old. This means we could easily be looking at a retirement lifespan of 20 to 30 years. Correct or not? So let's do some quick, simple mathematics here. If you need 5,000 a month for your living expenses, right? That is 60,000 a year. Okay. So if you have a 25 years in retirement, you will need at least 1.5 million for you to support or last that 25 years. Now, if you are living longer, okay, say 30 years, you will then need 1.8 million or more. So the longer we live, the more money we will need. I mean, that's quite a common sense, okay? But what this suggests to us is that maybe even with good EPF dividend, if you withdraw for too long, or you need it to last very long or too many years, eventually your savings won't be sufficient as well. Now, I want you to imagine your retirement savings is like a water tank, right? A tank. Now, your EPF dividend, right? Now, this tank don't have cover one. So your EPF dividend income is like rainwater filling up your tank. Now, of course, you withdraw, you drink, your expenses, your withdrawal from your EPF, they are like water flowing out from the tank. So if you open the tap too wide or too soon, too fast, all right, and never close the tap, even you have heavy rain every day or every now and then, it may not be enough to refill your water tank for you, and eventually your tank or your bucket, you will still run out of water sooner than you want or you hope. So this is exactly what can happen when retiree they withdraw too much, too soon, too fast from their EPF savings or any other retirement savings you may have. So even if EPF give us 6.3% every year, if you are withdrawing 10%, 15% of your savings every year, your money won't last for 20 or 30 years also. This is just something that it's better to aware and realize the earlier the better, because what if you are if you only to learn this later, it might already be too late already. So if you are not convinced, let's take an illustration to see whether true or not. Okay, now we have individual A again who is retiring today. So he wants his retirement savings to support him from 25 years, right? With inflation of 4% a year, starting retirement lifestyle of 5,000 a month, which is 60,000 a year, right? Which can be just a modest lifestyle only, by the way, 5,000 a month. And let's say his retirement savings will grow at 6.3% per year. For him to have enough money to live for 25 years, he will need about 1.168 million today. Meaning, if he have 1.168 million today, it will probably last him for 60,000 starting this year, increase by 4% a year for 25 years, and grow at 6%, 6.3% every year. His retirement money should be able to last him for 25 years, about that. Now, if we have individual B who also retire with individual A today, with the same 1.168 million as well. She also, but instead of spending 60,000 a year, she spent just 1,000 extra compared to individual A every month. So her yearly expenses will be 72,000 a year instead of 60,000, right? So this individual B, her spending, although it's just 1,000 extra a month, her retirement savings of 1.168 million will not last her for 25 years. This obviously because she spent a little bit more, right? But this little bit more that she spent will cause her tank to dry up about 5 years early, 5 year faster than individual A. So that means her EPF or retirement savings will finish, will dry up in less than 20 years. Just 19 year plus plus close to 20 years, we're expected to finish already. So this is a 5 years faster depletion or exhaustion of our retirement savings, although the additional spending it's only amounted to 1,000 ringgit a month. This tells us how influential the usage that we have on our water tank actually have on the sustainability of the water in the tank. Can see, right? Now, what if? What if this individual B today she has this knowledge already. She know, oh, I cannot spend this 1,000 extra, even though it seems little bit, but it will have a drastic effect on my sustainability and security. I want to copy exactly how individual A live his life, and because I want to spend exactly the same amount like individual A. All right. So she will also be looking to spend 60,000 a year. But individual B, let's say she is not from this universe, she's from another universe. Her retirement savings does not grow at 6.3% a year. It grow at 5.5% a year, which is 1% lower than individual A. Okay. So with that lower return, of course, it will not last 25 years, but will it be less than 19 years? Will it be less than 20 years? The answer is it is still expected to support individual B for nearly 23 years, which is just 2 years shorter compared to individual A, who has about 0.8% higher per return per year. So this implies that our withdrawal from the retirement tank is super important. It is even more important compared to the return you are getting. It could be the biggest reason if we become too broke too soon and too early in retirement or run out of water in the bucket eventually. This means our behaviors, our lifestyle, they are equally important, if not more important, on our retirement security, on or even are also equally important on our status of financial health or the quality of our financial health today. So, you might be wondering if our spending is so key to our retirement security, is there any way out or any solution or anything I can do to support myself? The answer is yes. So I will share with you this simple three-step framework. Step number one, know your safe withdrawal rate. This means you determine how much you need to or you can afford to withdraw from your retirement bank in order to not finish or let it ensure that it can last you for the 20 or 25 or even 30 or 40 years time frame you are looking at. Okay, so a general rule is to withdraw only about 4% to not more than 5% of your retirement savings. That means if you have this tank this big, you only take out 4 to 5% from the total amount you have in year one. Okay, so if you have 1 million, that means about 40,000 to 50,000 per year. Okay, which translate to about 3,003 ringgit to 4,002 ringgit like that per month. All right. If you withdraw more, your water tank will dry up faster and it may not be able to last you that long, even with good dividend, like we have illustrated earlier, right? So 4% is the generally for so many decades, it has been said as a safe withdrawal rule. Of course, whether it is the best or not is up to debate, and but it is something okay for us to refer to. All right. Now, Step two is to consider other income sources. All right. This means do not just rely on a single, don't put all your egg in one basket, and don't just count on one instrument or one vehicle as your only retirement income sources. Okay. So, like for example, EPF is great, but you should also look into other options. For example, you can build up passive income. You can also increase the size of your retirement savings through contribution to private retirement scheme, PRS, or you can also, on top of your contribution from employer and your salary deduction, also make additional contribution to your EPF. This means you are not just relying on the statutory contributions only. You can also create side business or additional work, that especially work that can still be something relevant to you, and you can still live through it or do the work during your retirement year, especially the early stage, or we call that the go years or active retirement phase. That's step number two, right? Create more income stream or create a larger retirement nest egg for yourself. Step number three is to also not forget to plan for inflation and your healthcare costs. Healthcare expenses will definitely go up as long as we are alive. Sometimes even we have passed away, we still have to incur a little bit of cost also. But healthcare costs generally, we are not just living longer. The longer we live, also it means the more likely we will need to spend for healthcare. So healthcare cost is also not cheap. In fact, the pace it goes up in price may also be faster than our food and beverages as well. So having a plan for your healthcare, like a medical cost or insurance, health insurance, and to prepare medical emergency savings for yourself is so crucial for long-term financial security as well. Okay, so while we celebrate this 6.3% dividend, let's also don't forget to be smart about our retirement planning and preparation for a retirement that is truly worth living, and also with lower money stress for yourself. So this is the key sharing that I've done as a summary or wrap up. A good dividend is great, but a well-planned retirement is not just about having good dividend, which is something beyond our control anyway. So you cannot control our EPF dividend, your property rental rate or appreciation or capital gain. You cannot control the return on your PRS funds or any other investment. But you can control how you manage your savings. You can control whether you want to use your money to spend on things that truly align with your core values, that really improve your overall quality of life and makes you feel happier in the long run. Okay. So after hearing all this, are you confident that your savings, your retirement savings, will sustain or last throughout your long retirement journey? If you want to know how much you can safely withdraw or how much more you need to save to increase the security level or sense of security, let's have a chat. Drop a comment in this video, drop a comment in this episode, or send me a DM on my social. I'd love to help you to understand more about what's on your mind, and let's see how we can explore ways to build a retirement plans for you that truly belongs to you, that can sustain, that can provide you a sustainable happiness and sense of security. Okay, bye bye.